Kristen, do you remember anything about your milking experience? I remember Johnny squirted milk on you.
Yeah, I know it was hard to figure it out at first. It's pretty tough. You have to pull pretty hard.
But what Johnny did, he said he had tried to teach some other young'uns to milk, and some of them were fellas, and they couldn't get any milk, but Kristen did good. And I appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks.
I really do. And she's going to stay with me, and we're going to shift a little bit and meet a gentleman named Bud Hardcastle. Bud Hardcastle has been looking for Jesse James in the form of Frank Dalton for I don't know how many years. Was Jesse James really shot by Bob Ford in the late 1800s, or did he live on, fake his death, under the alias Frank Dalton? Bud Hardcastle has been working on this, and let's see what he has to say about it.
Well, Lewis, the man in the Union uniform, I've been researching Jesse James. This is my 21st year, and I didn't know that I would ever be doing anything like this, but I found out that Jesse and Frank had lived in
There's Hollywood legends and legends that's real.
Things that you read, they never mentioned. Jesse and his men wore the long coats as dusters because when they reached their destination, they could pull that duster off and their clothes would still be in pretty good shape.
But sorting fact from fiction is a damp gray day, like smoke hazy rails at a distance.
And the fact that he was related to my great-grandfather and stayed in his home close to Wright City, Oklahoma in 1921, how can he be there in 1921 if Bob Ford shot him in the back of the head in 1882?
Was he Jesse James and J. Frank Dalton? The history mystery remains.
This reward of $25,000, I think that Jesse might have had that posted on himself, and before he faked his death, he rescinded this reward. And the reward that was paid was the amount of $10,000, and Governor Crittenden, Thomas T. Crittenden, got the biggest part of that reward, and Bob Ford got enough to go into Colorado and maybe open up a saloon. And Frank went into business with him there at one time. Frank James wouldn't have been in business with Bob Ford in the saloon if Bob Ford had killed his brother. This is a copy of a newspaper article, May the 19th, 1948, in Lawton, Oklahoma. Jesse has turned to 101 years of age, and he decided to declare who he was. Over 30,000 people showed up in Lawton that day to hear him talk.
They believe it, though, through 30 years of research, through guns and coins, pictures and photos, and computerized morphing, as sure as Jesse's shot.
Those guerrillas, they had to take target practice. This is a computer aging process of the young Jesse James on over to the man that we say was Jesse, J. Frank Dalton, and a man named Stephen Kessler had this done, and the picture proves that the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and everything match perfectly, and it says at the bottom that the chances of him being anybody other than Jesse James would be astronomical.
Near the rails in Shreveport, Redden reporting.